Good afternoon. It is July 8th, 2024. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Levinos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, Night? How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? You got to imagine, it's middle of July now. We've gone through the finals. We've gone through the draft. We've gone through free agency. So now we have to go through, what's really one of the most important things, this week is going to be going through the world champion Boston Celtics Summer League team. Now, I'm ready to go roster, position by position and, really, which guys I think are going to make a difference on this team. Are you ready for this?
I remember last year when we started doing summer topics, and the first one, because we had no time to prepare for it, I was like, all right, let's just do a Duke one. Because you don't need any time to prepare for it. So it was like the top 5 Duke players or something nonsense we did last year, and we're officially hit that stage right now. And you're making it sound like that's what we're gonna do right now. You don't want to do more top 5s? What else can we do?
I think we discussed it a little before. I think next week we're gonna have to start going back to our drafts, get creative. I thought that this week there was not the most popular sports going on, but I did watch way more soccer. Both the Euro tournament as well as the Copa America, and there's a little bit of summer league, not really too much going on there, but also the U.S. Basketball team, they're starting training camp, but there was also the qualifying tournament, and there were just some different things from there. So I thought we'd have enough of basketball stuff. The summer league thing from the Celtics was just a little bit of a joke, but it is fun to just see some fun names on there. You see Ron Harper Jr. We just talked recently about how, if you're really not sure, just draft a guy whose dad played in the NBA. And, of course, Ron Harper played in the NBA, as well as a fun one is Killian Tilly. He just kind of got a fun name. He played for Gonzaga quite a few years ago now. We'll just leave it at that. And, he was good when Gonzaga was good. But, yeah, I don't think any of these guys will be on the real team. Of course, Jordan Walsh will be around, but yeah, these we kind of got our roster all set, and there's no fun young guys coming up. I don't think.
I could talk a little summer league. I think the Celtics are going to win summer league, and that's I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, or if that's going to translate into anything. But I know we're bringing back a lot of guys for summer league, which doesn't always happen. So I'm hoping just that familiarity, as well as these guys being on a roster last year that was very successful and not really getting as much chance to get a run on. We had really, really good depth. So I think some of these guys are a lot better than we've even seen. It'll be fun to see them get out there and play against some other guys who have even less experience than them. So I like Boston's chance in the summer league. I don't know what it translates to. I don't know what that means. And if we end up being completely terrible, I don't think that means anything either. It's always a little funny in summer league. Like, what do you think you could ever actually learn from any of it?
I think normally you have some of these elite guys up at the top, some lottery guys, or some guys that you really knew from college that you're looking to see how they translate. But this draft, I feel like just didn't really have much of either of those. Where last year, all right, Wemby, he's gonna be playing in America against other adjacent NBA talent. And all right, I've been hearing all this stuff. I've been watching, the highlights. Okay, I want to see for real. What's it look like when he's playing in Las Vegas? But this year, I think it's just basketball. It's background basketball. It's better than a lot of the other options. But yeah, I just like to throw it on, whether it's live or it's the games from the night before, and just kind of see who catches my eye. Are there any big dunks? Are there any big performances? Just see who's around. See who maybe I didn't even realize was going to make an impact. It's only been what was it? It was in Utah, and then there's the other site is tonight, but then Vegas will be on the 13th. So that's when I feel like this is almost like pre-summer league.
Yeah, it keeps going. I don't mind it. It's basically a distraction at this point where there's just not other sports. I've been watching a lot of tennis and Wimbledon, been watching a lot of soccer, as you mentioned, but the basketball distraction is still what I'm addicted to. I just would like to point out that last year, as everyone says, well, there's not a Wembanyama in this year's draft. Wemby did not look that great in summer league last year. I think that's fair to say. Is it not?
I believe I was
you
very
crushed
strong
him.
mentioning that. I believe I did after his first game. Yes, that does sound like me.
So if someone does come out and look awesome in summer league, I'm not saying that translates to them immediately being awesome. I mean, Kelly Olynyk was once upon a time. I mean, not that he's been a failure of a player, but he dominated summer league one time. So we left summer league thinking like, is this LeBron James? Like this guy just dominated everyone at summer league here. So I don't think summer league means quite as much as you want it to mean. I don't know if winning it or even being a team player out of all of it is going to even translate to anything you want. I think you're
It's
just
almost
out
like
there.
you can't win summer league, but you can lose summer league. Like if you come in the Kelly Olynyk, and there's definitely been some other guys that have come in and dominated, and usually if you do that, that means okay, you at least belong in the league. Like all right, summer league, you've graduated beyond that, but you can lose it if you come in and there were certain things that were expected of you, and those do not transfer.
Yeah, as well as the coaching is a little different too. We've got assistants out there. We're doing different foul structures. I'm sure it's different
Oh, here's a
referees.
good question for you, JJ Redick, rookie coach. I just heard his final podcast. They shut it down. Just 4 minutes, thanking everybody. Classy move, but all the way focused on the Lakers. Should he be coaching in summer league? He's a rookie coach.
Is that normal? Did Missoula do it?
I
I don't think
think
Missoula
it
did.
is not the norm, but I don't think that it's unheard of.
I think a lot of the times the coach is there. They're just not behind the bench. Like I think they're watching. I think even
Oh
GMs
yeah,
are
he'll
watching.
definitely. I have to imagine he's in attendance, but no, will not be actively coaching.
This whole player development of LA is funny to me because LeBron essentially forcing them to draft when he's never really wanted to ever play with a young player. I mean, who's the young guy that LeBron has groomed and really helped his career out? He's only really been interested in playing with veterans. So this whole redirection of like, let's take care of Bronny, let's just get more draft picks, let's stay underneath the cap, for future, and it's always been for right now, and he's kind of not at a right now moment. So I don't know how urgent it would be to have JJ out there. Or is it more urgent that we have to groom the young guys and he should be out there?
I just wonder if you're a rookie coach, you got the rookie players out there. If I don't know, would it just help you, or does it really not? Because even this Lakers team, which is in a different situation than the Celtics were, where I think there will be summer league guys that do make the jump to the main team. Not the main Celtics. I mean like the main Lakers team, MAIN. But I don't know, just get your feet wet. Just mixed up with the referees, just get a feel for it, or it's just gonna be different than when he was a player.
Well, is it gonna be funny when they send the assistant coaches over there and those are former actual coaches doing it? Is that more of your argument?
It probably will
like
be,
like
right?
this guy should be getting experience. He's never been at the sideline before. He should go stand over there and just get a feel for it rather than sending all these veterans who are just a very supportive backup. I think it'll be with Nate McMullen and man, who's the other one? It's another coach who's been around.
They definitely, I think they did do a good job of putting some veteran guys around him, which I just think is smart. But yeah, I think that will be a little odd.
Yeah, it's like go set the guy that's done this before to go do this.
Yeah, you go deal with these young guys. But maybe that's part of it. I'm like, okay, you're the assistant. These are the things that assistants have to do.
Are we gonna be the show? Are we gonna do? You want Bronny James? We can spend any time on it. I was just shocked he took as many shots as he took. Is that weird? I expected like 5 shots out of him. Anything over 10 is like I guess we're really giving it to him, letting him try.
We're getting hammered over the head with it, which I apologize because now we're the media and now we're hammering our listeners over the head with it. But we didn't mention it last week. I could have made jokes, could have made LeBron jokes, could have made Bronny jokes, could have made Lakers jokes, could have made it all in one thing. But I wanted to wait. I said, hold up. He's going to play Summer League, and we just talked about you should be able to dominate Summer League if you're going to make it at the next level. He was the 55th pick. Almost like you barely got drafted. So even if you're not LeBron James' son, there's not really a lot of high expectations there. But yeah, he did take a bunch of shots, only 4 points. Is it more concerning that this was what happened his first time out there? We just mentioned Wembanyama, not that they're in even the same class of talent, even close. Or are you more concerned that he's already out for the next game because of a slight injury?
The trajectory that Bronny's at is completely different than what Wemby should have been at. Right, Wemby I think was coming in with higher expectations of a better skill set, and then it was just going to be a little bit more of adjusting. Bronny's adjustment is he has to get better. It's not just going to take like let's just get used to playing against NBA guys. He literally has to get better at so many skill sets. So it's just going to be a stepping stone every day, every game, every time he's out there. He has to get better, and I think you'll see that. And it's just not going to happen overnight. And it's probably not going to happen by the end of summer league. This is a project that's going to take some time, and that there's no reason we should see him being successful at all right now. I mean, based on what everyone felt like he shouldn't have been drafted, so now there's an expectation that he was drafted, that he suddenly that proves that he's better. Like all of the other metrics we use to measure.
Not just drafted though. Drafted, not a two-way contract, a full guaranteed contract.
Well, I mean, if you could have the most valuable currency you could have in basketball, LeBron has all of it. He has the
He's got all
power.
of it. So here's my question for you. I don't want to have to every time that Bronny plays in a game and that doesn't really do anything to bring it up. Like this is the first game. There's probably gonna be a whole bunch more of these. So what would he have to do for this to get brought up again? Because I just don't want to be ragging on this kid. He's doing the best he can out there. He's got the heart condition he's still coming back from. It's more I like making fun of the Lakers and I like making fun of LeBron, and he's unfortunately getting wrapped all in this. But what does he have to do, either good or bad, to get brought up again on our podcast?
He's got to play at least 20 minutes. He has.
Is this summer league or is this real season?
All right. He's got to play at least half the game in summer league. Let's say he's got to play 7 minutes in a real game, and have no turnovers, and shoot at least 50%. Because I don't think he should be shooting a lot at this point. I don't think he's a good shooter. I think he could be a good cutter, which is more of like he should be taking layups and good attempts towards the basket. And I think he could do that. So that's why if he's shooting under 50%, it means he's taking shots he shouldn't be taking, and he should be making most of the shots and getting challenged at the rim and doing that. And I think if he does that, those are the little wins that I think he can do to find a way to get out on the floor. I think defensively he has to be insane defensively. I think he is going to be getting picked on so much offensively. Everyone's going to be targeting him. He has to rebound and go back at everybody and just say, no, I'm going to be the dog defensively. I'm going to be tougher than anyone else thought. I'm not going to be the spoiled kid with the name on the back of the jersey, blah, blah, blah. It has to be that. I think he's going to handle the media and all that fine. I think he's a good kid. I think there's worse human beings that could be in these situations with the amount of attention he's got. I think he'll actually handle that well. But like I said, he's going to get a lot better. He's not going to look great today, tomorrow. It's going to take some time. He's got to get better at a lot of things.
And that happens to a lot of people. So that's where, I don't want to be bringing this up all the time. We didn't bring it up last time, but he has played a game. It did happen. We mentioned 2 for 9, 4 points. Not really much there, but I am also able to separate and look at it of the highlight where LeBron's over, in Vegas, for the USA, for the training camp for the Olympics, and it was cool. There was a video of LeBron watching Bronny score, in summer league. I mean, it's just summer league. Like the stats don't even really count, but you could tell that it made him happy. And I want LeBron to be happy going into these Olympics. We're gonna it's all hands on deck. We got some old dudes. They got to really turn back the clock a little bit here.
We are going to be an older roster. I think they're going to have a hard time. Look, the roster they picked, they went so like all out dream team that I don't think this is going to be an easy team to coach all of a sudden. Like you're going to have some real decisions to make, and if there's a game where it's this or that, I think you're going to have a hard time pulling the trigger on giving up on certain lineups and then really switching it up in a heartbeat to put someone else in. And I think you can make an argument for a lot of players on this team. I mean, Tatum's probably not even going to start. He just won the NBA Finals. He's probably
Isn't that
not
crazy.
He's probably not going to start over Kevin Durant, who he beat in a series pretty much head to head 2 years ago, and he's still going to get the nod. But on the flip side of that, I don't. You're telling me you're going to bench, Steph Curry and LeBron James and Kevin Durant? I mean, look, these are all good problems to have. I just wouldn't want to have them if I was the head coach. Right? They didn't give me enough role players. I'd rather have Derek White and more Drew Holiday type guys out there, and Caruso and things like that, so I could feel better about benching certain guys because somebody's getting benched, right? Like we can't play everyone.
I mean, not only can not play everyone, there's going to be guys that are at the end of the bench that don't play at all. The Olympics, it's quarters and the games are shorter. So just there's not as many minutes to go around. So there are going to be guys on this team that I think won't even play. I mean, maybe there'll be a garbage time situation, but I mean, I was actually surprised that Halliburton is back already. I kind of thought you get hurt in the playoffs, and it's almost like Kawhi playing. I know I'd feel weird if Tatum got hurt in the playoffs, we got knocked out, and then he was playing on the USA team. I mean, I love it for America. I mean, I'm always pro America, but I think as a fan of the team, you just got to kind of be looking, going like, wait, what? I mean, it's still the same thing, with Embiid. But I think some of it, and some of the reason for some of these older, kind of more traditional dream team sort of guys, is that they haven't played in the Olympics before, and Steph's getting up there, just kind of how things worked out and all the finals runs, and this is kind of his one and only shot. So when Steph says, "Hey, I want to play on the Olympics team," I think you have to let him play. You can't say no, thank you.
Well, if you do look at the roster, it is a little bit of kind of, I don't want to call them has-beens, but I'm just saying everybody here is coming in with a resume of a lot of success, a lot of games won, a lot of good games won, a lot of skills, and a lot of awards through all of this. But of recent timeline, a lot of these guys kind of need this Olympic win right now. They have not been crushing it. Curry, not crushing it. LeBron, not crushing it. Durant, not crushing it. I mean, based on just last year alone, these guys need this win almost, and I feel like this is one last hurrah of a win that they can almost lock in. And it's not that their legacy needs it at all, but I don't think they're getting any more NBA wins like they were once upon a time ago, a couple years ago. So I think it's a little bit more of that. If you're Embiid and Halliburton, you're doing everything you can to just be attached to this. Because, again, you have not had a whole lot of success. I mean, Halliburton, incredible year. These guys get to the conference finals. I don't feel like anyone's giving them any of the respect as if they were a team that truly deserved to be there. So attaching yourself to something like this, I think that's a big deal. And as well as Embiid, I think he's going to have an opportunity to really be used in a justified way against French towers over there, and Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert, and who knows how many other teams. I mean, it's generally a little bit more of a physical big man sport in this international field. So I think this is a big calling for him that he's kind of made for, and this might be the top thing that goes on his resume, and we'll make fun of that for years. He'll be the Carmelo Anthony of this generation, and that's all fine, and that's okay. And as long as we win gold, I'm not going to really have a problem with it. But I think that's why you have guys just holding on to this roster spot as much as they can, because that's what this legacy is going to be. It's going to change everything. They can add it without really having to do anything else in the NBA.
I'd much prefer this than the alternative. The stars that they want to play. You kind of goes back and forth, and sometimes the absolute top guys are not interested, but I think it's important for the top guys to be interested and to want to play. And I think that I don't think that these are just legacy picks and like they're barely hanging on. I still think that Steph, Durant, LeBron, yeah, they're definitely on the second half of their career, but they could still go out there and be cooking against any of these other teams.
They haven't had the most success of recent. None of these guys. Kawhi too. Like what is the last time? It's been a bit. It's been a while. I'm giving it to you. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I'm not saying we should cut any of these guys, or that. I would maybe make only a little bit more of an argument for Jaylen Brown and Derek White to be out there, but those are, again, they don't have quite the legacy of these.
If you extend this out not that far, let's say pandemic year till now, I mean, a good chunk of these guys have championships or have finals appearances.
Yeah, but
some more recently than others, for sure. But I think this is a good team. I'm not concerned about the French towers. I think maybe 4 more years. I have maybe Gobert's not around anymore, but Wemby, if he really rises up, Luka is already out. His team didn't make it. We got to worry about Jokic. We got to worry about the Germany team. I don't know if you saw the headline today, but the war on Tice continues. It's going to continue down in New Orleans, and I can't remember if it was Shams or Woj, but it was after signs with New Orleans, whatever, 1 year, whatever amount of money. Said this is ahead of him leading the Germany team, and I found that kind of funny because I am a big Tice fan, as I'm sure you are, but I don't think anyone's really thinking him as the one that's leading the German team.
I thought for sure the Celtics were going to lose Tillman or I don't know, we brought everyone back. And I heard and read a couple of Boston articles about like, hey, you want to kick the tires on Tice one more time? Like he's out there, he's there, and it's kind of like, well, there's a familiarity at least. Like I kind of like that when we brought back Horford, he just popped right back in. It was like, oh yeah, we know how to do this. So I wouldn't have been against that. And I wish him nothing but luck out there. And good luck with Germany, man. They had a hell of a lot of success last time. We have a little bit more of a reloaded roster than what they faced and defeated in the recent FIBA tournaments. But they're a sneaky team out there. You didn't even mention Giannis. I mean, Greece doesn't exactly have the roster of a threat, but I mean, if Giannis isn't going to miss and is going to score, 20 points,
that's what I want to bring up. So Giannis, he gets hurt, and so haven't seen him play in a while, and then it's like, oh, sweet. We got these European games that are on like in the morning, early afternoon because they're on European time. This is awesome. Yes, I would definitely like to watch this. Oh, actually, it's Luka versus Giannis. I mean, if this is in the NBA, this is Thursday night. This is a premier matchup. Can you tell me what streaming service they were on?
Courtside 1891.
Courtside 1891. Oh, of course. Let me just go through my Rolodex of all the streaming services I have and see if that one lines up.
I wish I could tell you the name is like a language translation. Like this is really like it's translating from another language into English. And it's just I didn't like it. I didn't like the app. I did subscribe. I'm a sucker for it. I already watched. I watched that game and it was worth it. I don't care.
How much did it cost?
You could get it 10 for the week, I think it was, and 30 for the year, which includes, I think, some Olympic stuff as well. I think there's some 3-on-3 qualifier stuff on there. There's some women's games on there. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm never going to watch, but I just wanted access to. So, as well as, if I'm going to give the app a try, I'm giving the app a try. So I bought the whole package for the year. I don't know where that goes, but I do really like the international basketball. I like the way it plays. I like the structure of it. It's basketball. It's better than summer league, if you ask me. So I'll take that.
Oh, big time. Oh, big time. Well, because one, like they're actual games where summer league, they are playing basketball, but it's a bunch of guys that are fighting to get into the NBA, and so half of that is guys that aren't talented enough to make it to the NBA, and another half that are gunning too hard to make it to the NBA. So it's not the best of product, but I mean that's not the idea of it. That's why it's played. In Las Vegas and in smaller gyms, and it's not played at the main, the main arenas.
I'm a little confused on why they're charging so much for a paywall of a sport that is international for everyone. So, like, I mean, I thought, don't we want everyone to watch these games? Don't we want to expand the game? Like, why are we trying to make money off it right now? Like, isn't that a bit of a cheap shot?
At some point, at least one of the games was available on the NBA app, which is confusing because that is different from NBA TV. And it was just, I would have liked it for it to be easier, and maybe it was, but I eventually did find it, and I was able to send it to you. But it took me a few articles to get to it, and it was a lot of aggregating. So it was just the same article on different pages, and it said like in the the link, area of like, oh no, yeah, we'll tell you where to watch it, how to watch it, all this, and then you got there, and then it didn't even tell you when the game was. Just, oh yeah, no. And so I just would have liked that to be a little bit easier, just a little more accessible. Just make it easier for me to watch basketball.
I love the international announcers. I think we're doing it all wrong. Maybe I'm just a sucker for an accent. I've just been tired of the American accent for so long. But give me some Australian accent. Give me just something. There's a different energy with it. It almost feels like I'm watching soccer. And I mean, look, you're not a fan of soccer, but the energy of when something goes right is awesome. All right, the goal, somebody yelling,
well, you
all
have
that.
to, because like one thing happens in like 2 hours.
I forgot.
There's like a lot of exciting things that happen in basketball all the time. You got to kind of, you can't just give it all out in one go.
Oh, I forget. I was with someone it was the Brazil Uruguay game, and at 0-0 end of overtime, and we're going into extras, and somebody just walked in and was like, Hey, what's the score of the game? And he goes, it's 0-0. He goes, oh, cool, it just started. It's like 95th minute. It's like, it's like, yep, just started, man. You didn't miss nothing. It's 0-0. So it's like, all right, well, that's an unpopular soccer opinion, but I totally get it. I think that might have been you in my mind of just envisioning when Zach walked in right now. What would he say? Oh, it just started. Cool, great. Let's watch
Awesome.
penalty kicks.
Yeah, save myself 2 hours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, what'd you guys do?
I have been watching a little more, and well, one thing is that despite not being, a very, very big soccer fan, like a lot of sports, a lot more, I am still very much American. Right around 4th of July, extra, on my mind. So if America's playing, I'll give it the effort. I'll get invested, and I'm upset when they lose, because it just seems like every time that's what they do, and so that was angry. But then also, it was in the in the Euros. I was out and about during the week, and saw a guy was watching. I saw he was watching very intently. I can very much respect that, because I go to places and I'm watching the Duke game, and I'm watching it intently, and usually the people around they don't really care. So I asked him, hey, what team are you rooting for? I wasn't obviously paying all the way attention, because he turns around and he was wearing one of the guys' jersey, but I think it was like a different. It wasn't the country. So like, had to figure that part out. So once I figured that out, I said, hey man, I'm gonna root for your team. We're gonna be on the same page. So I got really invested into that. That was I tried to make it fun for myself. So I'm giving it a real effort. But I have a fix for soccer. Now you're gonna say, well, Zach, you're not even a soccer fan. How are you gonna have a fix for this? But this isn't the normal fix. This isn't like in the past. I feel like we've had these. Do you have any guesses on what my fix is gonna be?
No, but I already feel like you should rephrase this entirely. This is a fix for you, because there's plenty of people that have no interest in fixing anything.
No. This isn't the hey, you should have the score, or you should have the clock tick down, because that's how Americans like, or you shouldn't have the extra time, because that doesn't make any sense. Those are all the things. Those are things I've mentioned in the past. They're like, hey, maybe all the guys should be able to pick the ball up with their hands and do stuff like that, because we all have hands. No. It's not. It's nothing like that. It's totally different. It's going to revolutionize the sport.
I'm ready. Oh, am I still guessing?
You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
You can guess. Yeah. You
My
need more referees.
more referees. I thought
more referees.
You want to know my guess?
They have one referee. They got the 2 assistants on the side. Those ones don't really count. I did a little research. So you got pretty much the same amount of guys, for football and for soccer. Do you know how many referees are on the field for a football game?
4?
7. There are 7 referees there. In baseball, there's, I guess, you'd have 9 to 13 guys out there. There are 4 referees / umpires. In hockey, 4. In basketball, 3. And in basketball, there's only 10 people out there. So I was watching it, and I heard, and this is from other people, that the refereeing in that USA-Uruguay matchup, that was really terrible. I don't really know. It sure looked to me like we got burned on that offsides. I'm not an expert. But after a while, I'm watching it going, well, now I can see the problem. There's one guy out there on a huge field. Like, how is I supposed to see everything? It just seems like it'd be way easier. Like, how can you only have one? Like I'm saying, in a basketball game, the court, way smaller. Half the amount of guys out there.
Look, you didn't even bring up the real solution of all of this, in that I know everyone, and you specifically, have brought up the flopping activity that's nonstop.
Don't get me started on that.
But it's almost necessary, where you only have one ref who's farther away and is not going to actually see the angle, that you have to fake the angle so overemphasized that they can see it and that they recognize something is happening. Because like you said, there are 2 guys on the sideline doing their best to officiate who are not near the middle of the field.
I don't think they really even do any. They're just for out of bounds, right?
No, they get a little bit of a say here and there. They can throw a flag up and signal something went wrong. They can do
something, because obviously the guy on the field, he is the main head honcho. But I was thinking, well, there's a lead official in basketball. There's a lead, umpire, referee in football. So that was the initial argument I thought that I would get from people saying, oh, well, you need somebody who's in charge. Like, well, no, we already got this system of, all right, there could be collaboration, but one guy makes the final call.
Look, the collaboration, it sounds great in theory, and when it goes well, it's awesome. But we have bullies in the NBA where there is the head guy just sabotages everything. We've got Joey Crawford making calls from angles he shouldn't be making calls from. and I don't think soccer wants that. I think that wouldn't be an improvement. I do think though that if you had another angle, and I just don't know where you put him either. I think that's the other thing is that this guy's on the field, and if you put more obstacles out there, you have to find a way to get out of the way because you could
Dude,
turn around quick.
they have 4 guys in hockey on ice in a smaller thing. I think these soccer referees, if you have some little like, all right, let's figure this out and do some practice runs and whatever their version of summer league is, and go, oh, okay, yep, nope, that isn't gonna quite work right. In football, for sure, they've moved where umpires and referees stand to make sure that they're less out of the way. I think this is very doable, and maybe it's not that you just don't have that one guy that just kind of almost like a roamer. It's like, I don't know, maybe it is like 2 guys, kind of on the side. Or I shouldn't have to be the one to figure this out. But I think you're exactly right that if you had some more referees out there, that the flopping would improve. And I didn't let it get to me that much. I didn't watch so much that it really really bothered me. But it was we're seeing it more and more with basketball. It's definitely not to that level, but it just, I don't know what the rules are. Like it's just more of I wish Pitt guy, like, there was just some more like hockey player in these guys, of that you're embarrassed that you have to flop and you're trying to cheat to win. And I don't know if there's like a rule that you could make to fix it, as so much as just like, hey, this is just the culture, this is just how it is, and you're just hockey is just at one end and soccer's at the other end.
Well, I don't think flopping in hockey would be successful. I think flopping in soccer is you just need this one opportunity to have a massive advantage of a penalty kick or a shot from outside the box. That's just a way more of an advantage than a regular possession. It's way more of an advantage than having a man down in hockey or even say in lacrosse. I do like in hockey and in lacrosse to some degree that it's like they throw the flag, but they let the play continue on. And then once things settle out, it's like, all right, this is what happened on that play. This guy's out. He's in the box for however long. But it doesn't really.
He doesn't get rewarded for that action.
Yeah. So I kind of like that a little bit, but it's also that soccer. I mean, soccer's just a different game, man. These guys are running. It's a massive field. They're covering a large ground, and the possession pace is different. Like there's a lot of downtime, and then there's a flash of light or a flash of lightning that just happens like a blink of an eye. That just happens. And those are the moments that decide the whole game. That you're just hoping for that flash of the pan of something miraculously happening from nothing. And sometimes a flop can generate that, and that's all it takes. 1-0's a win. Sometimes that's all you need. You just need one.
It just seems like a real sad way to get a victory is by flopping.
Yeah, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to win. They're just trying to win. Do anything possible, anything in their power to win.
Like I said, it's a culture thing. It just doesn't happen. Just something, like I said, hockey's at one end, soccer's at the other end. Basketball's probably a little closer to hockey than dead in the in the middle. But I think that more referees, and then they could just ignore it, so they could see. It's not one ref that's 40 yards away going, I'm not so sure. Let me run over there and investigate. There'd be a guy that's a little bit closer and could see. Oh, okay, yeah. You flopped. If you want to lay rolling on the ground a whole bunch, we're not rewarding you for it. Keep moving.
Are you questioning?
You're gonna have to play a man down, and then I don't think it would take very long for them to realize, okay, you only go down if you're really hurt. I mean, that's for sure gonna happen. These are elite athletes. They're going 100 miles an hour.
Are you questioning the conditioning of a professional referee? I mean, his cardio must be insane. I mean,
no, I'm not questioning it at all. I'm saying he's too far away to be able to see. The play plays behind him. He can get screened. There's any number of things. That's what I'm saying.
Look,
add at least 2 more referees. It seems really easy.
Even just thinking of like the goal kick. Right, we're getting the ball back into play. Right, it goes out of bounds. The goalie goes to get the ball from out. He's going to do a goal kick to start all this. He's going to kick the ball all the way to the other side of the field to try and start.
It's like a punt. Yeah.
And then this one guy is supposed to be somewhere in the middle of the field, of which this guy's just launching the ball all the way to the other side, and then it can immediately bounce back and backfire.
Go the other way.
And you're the one guy.
I'm not blaming the one guy at all. I'm saying the job's too hard for him, and just give him some help. Give him a team of referees. I don't think that it's unusual. I didn't go. I should have looked farther and tried to figure out for more non American sports what the referee situation is, but I could see, it started off as, hey, everybody wants to play, no one wants to be the referee. Okay, well, we're only gonna have one referee. But now that this is a multi-billion-dollar whole situation, and I think it would be better for these referees because now it's no longer, hey, you were the one guy that was in charge of all of this. It's like, no, there was a team of us. There was a team. We all worked together, and I think that would just help. There's a lot of corruption allegations and all the
So how many do you want out
all
there?
the
You want one in each half? Is that enough?
I don't know. I don't know the exact number. I saw for football that it was 7. I think that football has certain lineups and or certain formations that need to get looked at, but I'm thinking at least 3.
Do we want the guys on the sideline to get more involved? Do we want more guys on the sideline? Because that's the other thing. Those guys on the sideline are also
Nah,
running end to
they
end.
seem they seem mostly like they're keeping an eye on things, and I'm sure there's more communication than you can really see on TV. But the majority is, hey, here's right where the ball went out. Make sure the guy throws it in from right here. Make sure that the ball boy gets the ball in, and everything's satisfactory there. I don't think we really need more of that, especially with the camera angles. You can kind of see, where the ball went out.
Maybe that's what we need. You need to let cameras do everything. We don't even need a ref out there. We just watch everything from above.
No, that's not gonna work.
Why not? I don't. Why is that such a bad
Well,
idea? What are you? Is this baseball now?
well, I don't know how it has to do with baseball, but for one,
Well, baseball's
like
choosing to still have umpires with visuals of a physical
oh,
eye rather versus like we have a screen that could tell you if it was a ball or strike. That could customize the strike zone for every
that
single batter.
that goes to my second part of this of why we still need people is because you can't get mad at robots. That's not fun. Like I can get mad at a robot. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't exist. It just you know just a machine.
Well,
Part of sports
it's
is
not going to make a mistake. Why
irrationally
are we getting
mad.
mad at it? It's a robot. It's perfect. It's not going to make any mistakes. How would we be mad at it? It's the
Oh,
right call.
oh, okay.
You're,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
disagreeing with
that's how you
that?
want to live your life? Never being able to get mad at somebody else for your problems?
I want to work hard, and every time I throw a strike, I want to be rewarded a strike. I don't want to have a different strike zone for based on how that umpire's feeling that day, or based on whatever umpire is doing it. They all have their own strike zone. Some guys are wider, lower, taller, whatever. Some guys just don't like you too. That's what the robot doesn't care about. Doesn't care about how you treated him last time.
I don't think it exists. I think if it existed, we'd already have it. I think it's the same thing with the first down marker in football. Just the technology's not quite there yet. You think it is, but it's not.
Look, that part totally fair of an argument, whether we're capable of doing it or not. But denying that that's actually an improvement, I won't have that. That's clearly a better system.
But I don't think it exists. Like
All right, but
it,
well, we could get closer to it. Well, why do we try to put more guys in the field when we can get better at that?
Now we're getting off track because let's bring it back to a camera, an eye in the sky for soccer. It'll work for out of bounds, but how is a robot going to know the difference between all right, it was a bump and that it was a penalty or that was a bump, but it's like, hey, yep, this is a physical sport. Guys are going to bump into each other. How's a robot going to know that part?
I'm not saying the robot's making the call. I'm saying that somebody is physically watching the cameras through like there's still a
okay.
human watching it from the camera angle that this
Gotcha.
is on there. They're in the booth. They're just like the reviews
Oh,
at home.
definitely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I want 3 on the field, and I want at least 3 in the booth.
I just want 2 drones floating overneath and like 4 guys in the booth. And I want pylon cameras in the corner.
Nobody on the field.
I mean, sure, but you could have the one guy on the field that could run it like they always do. But I just think that's the improvement right there is we have more cameras, and this guy goes into the booth and has got an earpiece communicating with them, and that's how we keep things going faster too. That's the other thing is how many times in soccer is the referee has the flag up, he blows the whistle, and he's got to run to catch up to the play. Like it's like hold on, wait. I'm almost there. I'm holding the flag in my the card in my hand, and I'm running towards you because he's not there. He's not immediately there either. This time could be saved.
It would probably help with biased officiating if it was all done remotely.
You know,
because you wouldn't have the actual like I'm afraid for my life if this goes wrong for the home team.
look, that problem is you shouldn't feel endangered in certain situations to begin with. But sure,
I think they've done the research on it that it's not even was it uh unconscious biased
uh, well, what if
that you like they don't even realize, but like there is like it's not like it's 10 to 90, but like there is like a little bit of a like an advantage for the home teams.
all right, what about
And
this
this could be like
hypothetical?
older data. I don't know if it's still accurate.
What about this hypothetical? What if there is no ref on the field and that we are doing entirely eye in the sky, sideline sort of things? Where do the players complain to then? Does complaining go away? Because there's no who do you yell at? Like, what are you gonna yell in the booth to the guy in the third story window up there? Like, what? There's no one else anymore. Is that improved?
It would be funny. Yeah, it would be pretty funny because I don't know who you yell at then.
You know, if anything, I think you're just yelling at the other team, and it's like, well, dude, I'm dealing with the same thing. Like, you think I'm not loving
Yeah,
this either.
I hate the robot too.
You know, and then now we just fixed it. And there's no more complaining. At least you're not going to see it anymore. I mean, they're going to have to get real creative, come up with ways of disapproval.
You could check that flopping real quick.
I mean, just in the NBA alone, if you took out the complaining, it's very different of a game. It's a different pace entirely.
I feel like there's a lot less in the international game. I don't know if it's a language barrier or what.
Yeah, it might be. It might be they are saying it, and the other guys just, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. You seem mad, but I don't know. You seem mad, before when I called the foul on the other teams. I don't know, man.
These Americans have very weird emotions, you know? I don't know what he means. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Is that a Taylor Swift song? I don't know. Is that
I don't know.
It's very, very excited. All right, it's enough little summer topics here. How about we talk about some of the real NBA deals, some real trades, some teams attempting to get better. I'd say the big deal over the past week here was DeMar DeRozan going to Sacramento in a complicated 6-team trade that's not really a 6-team trade, but is technically a 6-team trade. All in all, DeMar going to Sacramento, and with Harrison Barnes going to San Antonio, I'd say are the bigger names, the bigger deals of all this. DeMar not going to the Lakers, I think is kind of a big deal, and this is a little bit more of why I think the Lakers are in a tougher position, that they're no longer like the first choice. Like the fact that he chose Sacramento over them is, I think, just a result of telling you how far the Lakers are from actually being relevant right now. And I don't know if this is suddenly going to put Sacramento head and shoulders above everybody, but I think they're better than the Lakers. And if you're Sacramento, I take that win every day. So, well, what do you think about DeMar to Sacramento?
He's definitely a little bit older, but I think the Kings, like these are like the type of moves you need to make because you just mentioned it. You're competing, it's not with the Lakers, it's other teams, but it's for sure in your own state, and it kind of gets you a lot of the time. So I think they're looking to make another jump up, and I think even though DeMar is older, I think he's still got enough left in the tank that he could make them make them fun, or at least give them some excitement going into the season. And you look at, I guess you gave up Harrison Barnes, but I feel like I haven't heard much from Harrison Barnes for a while. Unprotected 2031 pick. You never know about that, but he really didn't give up that much for him. So I'd say I think I'd prefer DeMar over Harrison Barnes.
I think I would too. I think we have quickly forgotten that when DeMar signed with the Bulls, that was everybody's, this is a terrible idea. This is an awful contract. I don't know why they think he's still got whatever left in the tank. The fact that the San Antonio gave up on him and all of this, and that kind of fizzled out in Toronto, didn't have a lot of good playoff games. And then I'd say in Chicago, despite not really having the most team success, he looked very well. I thought he was an effective end-of-the-game player. I just didn't think he played.
Was it that time he had the back-to-back buzzer beaters?
I'd like having a guy like that on my team, especially if I'm hoping to play in games that matter a lot more than any game that Chicago's played over the last couple of years. So I just hope that they stay relevant. But they are a little bit overcommitted now. They bring back Malik Monk. They've already did the Sabonis trade. Keegan Murray getting another year under his belt. Little icy feeling from De'Aaron Fox's commitment at this point, but at least for this season we have them, and this is the team going forward. I think that they're better than the Lakers. I'm going to ask you right now if you think they're better than Golden State, because they have also made some moves in the additions of Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, and DeAnthony Melton, as well as losing Klay Thompson. But would you rather have this Sacramento team, or you think Golden State has somewhat rebuilt here?
I'd rather have the Kings.
I think so too. I think you were talking about
Look,
Klay was a great
look
move
at the
for.
moves. Look at the moves that they made, and look at where the standings were last year.
Everyone's making it sound like Golden State has rebuilt and that they've moved on from Klay and that Buddy Hield is somehow going to fix all of this. We were so discouraged last year watching Buddy Hield in Philly, being like, he's not even on the floor. There were games he didn't even play.
He didn't even play. It wasn't an injury. I mean, when I initially saw this, my immediate thought was, okay, got to fill Klay. You're never gonna get that level of shooter, but Buddy Hield, yeah, another 3-point shooter. And then it took me a beat to remember. Wait a minute, this is not like years ago. This is recent that we were just talking about Buddy Hield and how he's not playing in playoff games. And even when he was in, he wasn't shooting threes. He wasn't playing well. That's why he got set.
Like maybe there's value in this and that there's the hope that you put just more shooters around all of this, but Kyle Anderson, not the greatest shooter. I think a smart, good locker room guy that isn't going to hurt. And then if you're really in a pinch that he can fill in and substitute for certain roles that other guys just don't have that same flexibility. But again, not a great shooter and not the fastest player either. And I don't know if that's like, does this team want to play fast or does this team want to play slow? Like when is Golden State going to be at their best going forward from here? They're no longer that championship team with the solid defense and the versatile shooting of Klay and Steph and the Splash Brothers. Like this is a different team. It's a different roster at this point. Is this team fast or slow?
I'm thinking slow.
All right, and they're not that good defensively, right? Like what is none of the guys I just mentioned are like, oh, lockdown, right? Like none.
Well, I mean, Draymond can be like literally a lockdown defender when he's got somebody in a headlock, but then he gets suspended for a few weeks. So then it probably hurts the team more.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, that's right. Draymond Green's still on the team. They got rid of Klay first.
I've been hearing a lot of the backlash of Klay and all of this, and that like they disrespected him with the offer and all of that. It's like, well, he hasn't played that well. I think some of the moves that they really messed up on is the Jordan Poole thing was a huge loss, and maybe that ended up being, and it would have been this way anyways. But the punch season, you made a big deal of how that affected things. But then having to trade him and not really getting the same thing back for him in exchange was a loss for the Golden State, and really isn't Klay's fault in any way. I also think missing on Wiseman was a huge miss for this. I mean, this team, Klay gets hurt, Curry gets hurt, Draymond's doing Draymond stuff for a whole year, and they end up getting the number two pick. And it was a draft very similar to this year where, sure, there was an obvious Anthony Edwards number one, but I just go back. You go back in that draft, it's like, well, what if you added Tyrese Halliburton to this team or something instead? I mean, you go even farther back. What if you added Jaden McDaniels to this team? I think he went like last pick of the first round. There's just options out there where if they get that right, maybe we have a different feeling about Klay, or maybe we feel like we can keep Klay because we have these other additions that hopefully are a little bit more affordable, being younger as well. These are things that are just out of Klay's control, and I think he has deteriorated a little bit as a player, but I think that this is kind of over, and I don't know what does Curry's next couple of years look like? Are we just riding into the sunset of Golden State and just saying we had a hell of a run, and like how do they get competitive again? I don't know if it's possible.
They're gonna have to get real creative. But if you're getting the Wiggins from last year and not the one from a few years ago, I mean, it seems like you found something good with Pods, as a later draft pick. But I mean, I'd like to think, I liked Moses Moody in college, and I thought Kuminga, had maybe something, but they're falling more and more down the depth chart.
These feel like the late Laker moves after their championship as well, where it was like, oh, we'll just we'll just fill the holes with duct tape. We'll be all right. LeBron will carry us. AD will never get hurt, and it's kind of like, yeah, Curry will carry us, and Draymond will never do anything to hurt this team. It's like, wait, well, will he? Like, are we sure? Like, you're betting on this, and I don't know if there's really the evidence right now of current day that proves any of that. So I'm not saying they should trade Curry, but I'm curious to see how he's going to be in this Olympic run right now. If he's going to get a little bit of a taste of like, oh, that's right, this is what it's like to play with really awesome players around you. I did this for a long time, and I haven't done it over the last couple of years.
I just don't know if there's going to be options. And I think with this whole second apron situation, as more teams get over it, those are teams like the Celtics are over the second apron. They aren't going to be able to make any moves. So say Steph says, "Yes, yeah, I'd love to come," and like, all right, cool. Well, and we have all the leverage. Like you said, no, I only want to go to the Celtics, no one else. Like I don't think like we could like by the rules like would be able to trade for him. And so as more teams, it's like a rule to protect the owners from themselves. So when the players demand this, the trade, they're able to say no. It's like, we would love to. We'd love to trade you, but we can't. So I just wonder, as we're going along with this, his options aren't. He doesn't even have the option of, all right, well, no, I want to be traded. I want to be traded to this contender. It's like all the contenders are over the second apron. You can't go to them. You have to go to like the next level down, and then you wonder, well, is it worth it? Do I want to, leave to, join, the Magic? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, do you want to go play in Charlotte? That's where you're from. That's kind of a cool storyline there. But if you've seen Charlotte recently or ever, just I don't know. So I think he's stuck.
I think he's stuck too, but I also think it's still been worth it. Like, he's not going to look back at his time or his career, I think, and being like, well, really only had so many cracks at us. No, you had a pretty good run here. This is, I don't know if it's quite a true dynasty, but there's definitely a long period of dominance and a lot of success with the same roster and the same coach and in the same franchise. That deserves a ton of credit. I just, the boiling point of this player empowerment and Steph being kind of the perfect golden boy of really keeping clean and not really getting involved in all this, I just wonder how long can that last? Does that ever come to an end? And if it is going to come to an end, I think this is the time. Like, if he's going to do anything, I think you do one more run this year. But I don't know. If you're Golden State, I would be a little shaky on your next couple of years, because this just seems unstable, and all the moves they made I don't think are really that effective, because I don't think they're better in Sacramento like you. I don't think they're. And Sacramento's not even one of the main threats in the West either. So it's like, who are you even competing
like,
with?
Ooh. Well, yeah, Sacramento got to bar, and they're at the tippity top. Do you think they got a chance? No. I see the Warriors being a play-in team at best.
You brought up Franz. He just got paid. He did not have his best year last year. He had an excellent year before. He had a pretty good FIBA run. Team Germany, as we mentioned earlier, won, and he was a big part of it. Are we overthinking all of this, or is he worth every money getting the max at this point and not really having the greatest year last year? Or did you want to see more?
I don't know if I want to see more.
Just give him the money then? It's fine. We got to give it to someone.
I think these young guys, if they just play like well enough, it's just known. Like, hey, you're gonna get the extension. Like, yep, you're good. You're still cost controlled to some extent, and it's like if you lose them, you're almost like you're right back where you were before. You obviously want to pay the tip top guys the tip top money, but I got to imagine they're looking at it as well into the future of, okay, more of this TV money is coming in. It's getting smoothed out this time. There's not just gonna be the one-time jump. So if we lock these guys in now, immediately now it looks, that seems like kind of an overpay. But these are for, like, I believe with this one it's a 5-year deal. So then in 3 years, all of a sudden with the cap even higher up, and each year, last year it was Brown, this year it was Tatum, next year I think it's Luka. I'm not sure exactly, but like it'll be the next guy, and his number keeps getting bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden you look and go, oh, we got Franz, at this number. Oh, well, that is not so bad.
I look at teams trying to lock up their young guys, and you have the right to. You drafted them. You drafted well. The Tatum Brown measurement is a really good one of like they have to be these guys. They have to play. They have to be worth it. And I just think when you lock into two guys and you get the wrong two guys, very, very kind of similar to like to Atlanta. It's like, all right, well, why are we locked into the wrong two guys? Like you have no flexibility with it, and then you end up taking a loss where you give them up and you didn't really get anything back. I just worry that they're locking in too much, but perhaps at some point you have to do it. I'm sure OKC is going to have some of these problems going forward too, where it's like, hey, we drafted like the best 12 guys over the last 7 years. We can't pay all of them. It's just not possible. You could have 1,000 draft picks. You can't pay 1,000 players. It's just not enough roster spots. There's not enough way everyone's going to justify being worth all of that money if they don't have a chance to play. I just don't know if he was the guy I would have locked in super early. I might have wanted to see a little bit more. I think not being able to shoot, or at least if he's going to lose his shooting confidence like he did last year, is really concerning. I don't think it's a Ben Simmons situation where he's just going to stop playing basketball, but I do think it will continue to affect him if guys are just not guarding him out in the perimeter, and that becomes a lot more predictable that he's just a threat for driving.
I think he's still young enough that he's not a finished product.
What if he crushes the Germany team again, though? Like, what if it was actually more, well, maybe it's the Orlando system. Because all the problems went away in Germany.
I don't think you want to look at that, because it seems like every year, and Franz is on the better end of this. But you see guys that are role players in the NBA that on their home team are all of a sudden just like you're the guy, and the interview always comes out of, well, yeah, I could do this in the NBA, but this is not what's required of me, and probably couldn't do it for 6 months, but I can do it for 3 weeks. Like, look out.
I think that was just a shot at Dennis Schroeder, but that's all right. That's okay.
No, it wasn't. I was actually thinking of I played on the Spurs for a while. Guard. I think it was FIBA.
Was it Patty Mills?
Patty Mills, yes. Australia. He's the one that, who I was thinking of. It wasn't a dig at him at all. Just, it's like, how are we struggling to guard Patty Mills right now? How does he have 28 points on us?
All right. Well, that's a summertime podcast. Doing our best here. Let's get out of here talking a quick little. Our favorite American on 4th of July, Joey Chestnut, did something different this year. We mentioned before that he was not going to be in the Nathan's Hot Dogs Challenge, and yet he still kind of stole the day, and I'd say very much dominated the day in whatever eating hot dog contest you want to measure by. He did his own live stream, and it was, 1 versus 4 or 5 guys? I don't even know, but
4, yeah.
What was he, 1 dog shy in half the amount of time of the actual Nathan Hot Dog winner at 52, 51, something like that? Ridiculous.
So he ate 57 hot dogs. The winner of the Nathan's Hot Dog Contest, which was 10 minutes long, ate 58.
Yeah, so huge flex for Joey. Clearly the king of the hot dogs. It doesn't matter. I didn't watch the actual Nathan's thing. I imagine less people
Why?
did.
The champion wasn't there. He's 16-time champion. You can go through all of the years. He never was below 58.
No.
So this guy that came, and he knows, and that's why I said there's something weird going on here. In the in-between, Major League Eating had come back and said, like, oh, actually, it's not really banned, but, they'd already, stepped in it. And I think it's just leading up to, it's not next year and the next couple of years for a grand return, because there's no competition, so he had to kind of go do something else. But I agree. Rather than trying to make this a worse situation, I think he tried to make it a bit better situation. He went to a military fort on 4th of July, raised money for the troops, still beat 4 guys, grown men, and I think that he is winning just all of these, not just the contests, but he's winning the PR battle as well, at least in my book.
Well, Joey Chestnut continues to be one of the most impressive Americans you're ever going to see, doing feats that no one should even attempt. Like, don't even try. No one has a chance. Just bow down to him.
How many days would it take you to eat 57 hot dogs?
I don't know. But we got to get out of here. Thank you as always for listening. Wolf Column A, Wolf Column B. Make sure you subscribe. You can follow us on our social media, and you can follow Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Congratulations to Alicia and Derek. It was a hell of a weekend. Successful wedding. Very, very happy with the way everything went. So happy wedding anniversary to them. July 6th, we'll be doing fireworks and all that sort of stuff next year. But I had a great weekend. Congratulations to them, and we'll be back next week.
Little column A, little column B.